And while in prison, I suffered a lot of mental anguish, a lot of hardship from the environment that I was in.
Willie Williams was released in 2020, but was still on parole until just this January when his charges were dropped.
News4JAX reporter Ariel Schiller spoke with Williams and his lawyers about their hopes in filing this lawsuit.
When I was sentenced to a life sentence and 3 30-year sentences, and I was on the bus going to the prison, and I was leaving Jacksonville, and I looked out the window and I looked back and I said to myself, well, Jacksonville, I would never ever see you again. But what I didn't know, God had a better plan. And that plan brought me here today.
Willie Williams is seeking justice 48 years after he was wrongfully imprisoned. His legal team filed a lawsuit Wednesday against the detectives in his case, the city of Jacksonville and Duval County. Williams was convicted of attempted murder and robbery in 1976. The state attorney's office uncovered evidence that the witness in the case was hypnotized as a way to identify the suspect, but it was never disclosed to the defense. Lauren Carbajal, an attorney at Lovey & Lovey, which represents Williams, alleges the hypnosis was used to identify Williams as the suspect.
They did this despite the fact that there was clear evidence that another man had committed these crimes and was responsible. But because that man committed suicide shortly after the crimes happened, they decided to paint Willie as the shooter and caused his 45-year-long imprisonment. There has never been any physical evidence to tie Willie to these crimes, and instead he had to suffer in prison for almost half his life, nearly half a century, for these crimes of which he was innocent.
Paul Wright, executive director for the Human Rights Defense Center, says by filing this lawsuit, he's hoping that the city will right its wrongs for Williams, and he's also hoping for reparations for the decades he spent in prison.
He's had 45 years of his life, almost half a century stolen from him, and he certainly owed a chance to try and get some of that back as best he can.
What is your hope by filing this lawsuit?
Money will never replace the time and the anguish and the emotional thing that I went through, but it will give me some comfort with my family and my wife. We'll try to live the rest of our life. I'm 79 years old, my wife is 75 years old, so we're up there in age, and whatever reward that comes from it, it would be used for us to try to have a comfortable life.
Williams' lawyers say monetary damages will be decided by a jury. They just filed this lawsuit Wednesday, so it will take some time to get to the step of a civil trial. In Jacksonville, Ariel Schiller, Channel 4, the local station.
David Chapman with the state attorney's office released this statement on the lawsuit. It says Mr. Williams received relief when his sentence was vacated. Though admissible into evidence in the 1970s, the state did not disclose to the defendant's attorneys that investigating detectives used hypnosis during their investigation. This failure resulted in the defendant receiving a new trial. With the passage of time and the loss of critical witnesses, the state could not proceed. During our investigation, there were no findings to support a claim of exoneration, innocence, or that law enforcement